We all know about the dark and deep web, but did you know there are sinister things that lurk above on the wide web? Well, today we're gonna be visiting Nick Crowley's The Internet's Darkest Corners 6 to explore them together. Put a paper bag on your head or turn off your camera, black ass nigga. Alright, bro. Where's my camera button? Alright. TTS on.
Fifth alarm. Working structure fire. 7741.
Damn.
It's 9 a.m. on May 18th, 2024. Residents of Charlotte, North Carolina.
9 a.m. May 18th,
Don't talk during the
2024.
video, black ass
Charlotte.
nigga, we don't care about you.
All right. May 19th, 2024, Charlotte, North Carolina. Lock in, bro. That's where
Where's
the
your
baby.
camera?
That's where the baby was born.
Wake up to the smell and sight of black smoke billowing up into the sky. The
We
source,
all hate you.
a massive 7-story apartment complex, home to
Did it
239
collapse?
luxury units, or at least what should have been luxury units.
Where the
At the
fuck is
time,
your
the
face?
structure was still under construction, meaning that thankfully no residents were living there. But this in and of itself
Get rid of
presented
your
two
cameo.
major problems. The first was that in its current state, the top 5 floors were primarily just the bones
Wait.
of the
I already saw this. My bad, guys. This is the one we need to watch. Now, YouTube's darkest videos. We all know that YouTube is a platform primarily made to enjoy content.
It was 2:46 p.m.
Yeah.
Black ass nigga.
All right, my bad. Yo, the ground shaking. Shut up. 2:44 a.m.
For residents of Anagawa, Japan,
I'm a
earthquakes were
rub my
nothing
Daihan
new.
yo teeth.
But this one was different.
Should we high-key disable TTS because we all need to shut the fuck up?
Y'all want to disable TTS?
Hiroshima at 10 p.m.
I'm gonna rub my dick on your teeth. Like you wanna brush it?
Can I peg you?
Pegging? I saw a video. He said that pegging is gay, and he actually made a good point. Like, imagine, here's what he said in the video. He said, imagine a big brolic black man with his butt tooted up with a long phallic object entering in and out of his butthole, and then a secretion of sweat, lube, and cream and booty hole glands from his butthole build up a sweaty ring around the dodo that he's getting pegged with. So eventually it's just like cream going in and out of his shit. And it could be the baddest bitch in the world doing it. It would still be gay, bro. Especially if that nigga shit prolapse. I never thought of it that way, bro. I always been like, yo, if Madison Beer doing it, I'm cool with it. But nah, I don't think that's possible. Nigga played a video, you right.
It carried with it a violence that none of the locals had ever felt before, and by the time the shaking had stopped, everyone in the city seemed to be left in a momentary state of shock. This was especially true for the nearly 160 Chinese workers and students that had recently moved to the area.
Was it
most
Japan?
having never experienced any earthquake, let alone one of this magnitude.
It's Japanese, though.
Of these workers were a tight-knit group of 20 women who had recently been hired as trainees at a company called Sato Susan,
That's a slur.
a company that sold fresh seafood. And having been at work at the time of the quake, they frantically ran out of the building and stood in the street desperately trying to figure out what to do next, unaware of the fact that the real horrors were still yet to come.
It's a sinkhole!
In Japan, it's not just the earthquakes you have to worry about, but the tsunamis that often follow. And usually, the bigger the earthquake, the bigger the wave. And given that Anagawa was right on the sea and Sato Susan was directly on the shoreline, these women were now standing directly in the path of an impending disaster. Thankfully, their boss, Mitsuro Sato, was well aware of what was to come, and quickly he yelled to the women to seek higher ground. But given their unfamiliarity with the area, Sato knew that he would have to be the one to lead them there.
Oh,
The group
Sato
readily
died.
listened, and they quickly followed Sato as he led them up a set of stairs on a nearby hill, where they eventually reached a shrine that overlooked Anagawa and the sea. It was the highest point in the area, and should keep them safe from what would likely be a massive influx of water. And sure enough, as they neared the top, Sato's fears were already coming true. As the sea had drastically retreated, it was now beginning to push forward, and things were only going to get worse from here. But despite understanding this, it wasn't a
That nigga just said, you got a big nose, ha ha ha. Can we fraud? What does that mean? Send me a screenshot of someone frauding and then I'll tell you.
deterrent for Sato, as once he deemed the altitude safe enough for this group of women, he then turned around and began to walk back down the hill towards the slowly flooding city.
Oh, he do that?
The girls yelled at him, asking where he was going.
Oh, his wife and
Which
daughter.
is when he revealed that down below in his home in Anagawa were his wife and his daughter, who were now directly in the path of this unfolding
They should
disaster,
know.
and he was going to save them. The girls screamed out to him, begging him not to go, as things had already become incredibly dangerous. But he didn't so much as
Nigga
turn
think
his
he a
head.
superhero,
He stepped
yeah,
down
you
onto the
deserve
street
it.
and disappeared from their view.
You deserve
And
it.
it was at this time that one of those girls standing high atop the hill began to record.
Oh. No! Don't tell me we're about to watch this nigga get swept. Oh my god. Don't tell me we're about to watch this nigga. I don't want to watch a nigga die. Wait, I didn't see it. Is that him? Was that him right there? Okay. Where it even was, bro? I don't know. Is this him right here? Right here? If this is him, yo, rest in peace, Sato, bro. Oh my god. That's not him? Oh, sure.
All my life, family has been super important.
Shut the fuck up. Fuck your ad, bitch. I think that's him right there.
The footage shows that the shoreline was no more, as the water had inundated the entire area as it slowly crept its way deeper and deeper into the city streets.
Stop
Women were
screaming.
understandably in a panic, trying to make sense of this ordeal that they were now given a front row seat to. And as they record, we can hear them desperately calling out for Sato. But at no point do we see him. We just know that he's down there, somewhere.
Oh shit.
And as the desperation in their pleas increases, so too does the fury of the water.
How about go up the steps? What are these girls doing, bro? Oh, L streamer not reading chat, get a real job. Censor your J word, bro. Censor your J word, bro. Censor your J word, bro. He said, nigga, I'm gonna cry. Yo, why are they crying? Like, genuinely, they are dry on top of a hill. Can they shut their mouths? Like, why do they do that?
They could only watch as Anagawa as they knew it was completely eviscerated.
Oh, shit. That is kind of scary, but crying is OD.
And by this point, they realized that there was now essentially no hope for Sato.
Damn.
It was at this time that the women realized that despite already being at a considerable height, it still might not be enough. And so they ran even higher up the hill, desperately trying to get out of the path
Yeah,
of this
smart.
water.
Damn,
And
get
as
the
they
angles
did
right,
so,
bro.
They noticed something down below.
What they notice down below? Oh, who's that?
Standing
Bigfoot!
top in the middle of this massive tsunami was Mitsuro Sato.
Oh, him.
The building that he stood on was once a full 2 stories off the ground, but was now just a few inches above the surface of the water. The women again call out to him, this time even more frantically, but at this point, it was no use.
Oh,
And
hell
when
no.
the camera is taken off Sato for just a split second, we can hear
Moose
just from the
Factory
woman's
in a
reaction,
century. All right,
the
bro.
exact moment that he swept away.
No.
The recording stopped shortly after, and restarts minutes later, revealing that the streets where the women had been standing just moments before were now fully underwater, and the buildings that once stood around them were now reduced to nothingness. In front of them was a sea of death, and had Mitsudo Sato not led them up that hill, then all of these women would have certainly been a part of it.
That's crazy.
The date was March 11th, 2011, a day
He's
where
called-
Japan had been hit by its most devastating earthquake ever, with it ringing in at a magnitude 9.0, which in turn caused the nation's worst ever tsunami, as that day, 19,759 people would lose their lives.
That's more than World War II. Wait, it was September 11, 2001? I thought it said 2011. Oh my god. Y'all made a good intro for the first song of the new album. Want to hear it? You send it. He said, "Are you dumb? Nigga dumb." What did I say? No, 2011. This took place in 2011, not 9/11. Yes, I'm not stupid, bro.
With Mitsudo Sato being one of them. But against
40 million died in World War II. How do you know that? Nigga was there. Yeah, shut up.
all odds, his wife and daughter were not part of that death toll, as it's been reported that...
That's what I'm... Oh my god, this stupid idiot. You could have stayed up the mountain, even if his wife and daughter did die. Literally, you could have stayed up the mountain and it held the funeral. So you just gonna die with them? Yo, see, this is why some people just should not be in the land of the living. He chose death, bro.
They were later found alive and unharmed. The devastation that occurred that day is incomprehensible, and all the footage of this disaster could warrant a place in this video, especially the footage of Anagawa, as you can see what it looked like before, during...
Bro, you said more people die in this than World War II. Yeah, because it was probably like even, bro.
And after.
Damn. I ain't gonna lie, that bird is laughing at niggas, bro. Don't stop pausing it.
But what I found so interesting about this was all throughout this disaster.
Yeah.
Were stories like Sato's, a man who risked his life to save
X predicted that shit.
And a man who gave his life trying to save his family, walking directly into the path of the worst natural disaster in modern Japanese history, all in an attempt to save the ones that he loved. And I honestly find it quite beautiful that afterwards, these women adamantly shared his story and made sure that the world forever remembered Misuro Sato.
Well, she kind of fine shit. She's kind of fine shit. Yo, chat. Name, question mark?
As the hero that he was. And of those 160 Chinese migrants who worked in the area, it was later reported that not a single one of them perished, which speaks volumes about the people of Anagawa, who so readily put others' lives before their own.
Mark Henry?
Fire marshal is investigating a blaze in Georgetown. 2 people found dead inside the
Georgetown. I used to live in Georgetown.
home, and so far
If this is in Georgia, I used to live in Georgetown in Georgia.
it's not known how the fire started.
It was just past 5:30 a.m. on the 17th of February 2021 when residents of a small neighborhood in Georgetown, Ontario were woken by the
I didn't live there.
sound of sirens blaring. One man frantically grabbed his cell phone and rushed outside to record the unfolding scene, where he was met with a horrific sight. His neighbor's home was fully engulfed in flames.
They must have played my new shit. Yo, no, bro. This is why I tell y'all, make sure your home is properly ventilated whenever you play my music, bro. Because swear to God, some shit like this might happen to you, bro. Real talk. Something might happen to you, bro. Real talk.
Shinji, why don't you come over? I'm ready for that ass.
I ain't know no trolling shit. I need a snow bunny. And you gotta go outside. Got niggas store running. Hoe hunting. That bitch said she want me. Push a whole bunch. Yeah, he's mudded. Alright, bro.
Must have happened quickly, as by the time rescue workers even arrived on the scene, there was already little hope of saving the house, or any of its occupants. It would take hours before that blaze was finally quelled, revealing the charred devastation inside, as firefighters would find the remains of 56-year-old Christina Rirak and 59-year-old Andrew Rirak within the home's garage. The cause of this fire was initially unknown, but quickly the
be
situation
the car,
became
then.
suspicious when experts determined that the fire had started as a result of some sort of explosion that had happened within the garage where the couple's bodies were found. This was later confirmed by security footage obtained from a neighbor who lived across the street, capturing the moments when it suddenly ignited around 5:27 a.m. There was clearly something off with this case, and things only became more sinister following the autopsies of Andrew and Christina, which revealed that they hadn't actually died in that fire,
Then where they
and
die?
instead, both of them had been stabbed to death, with Andrew also
Dun dun dun.
being
bad.
badly beaten. This fire wasn't started to kill them, it was
Crazy
started
plot
to
twist.
cover up their murder. And it did a good job of it too, as the scene was now left completely destroyed, with very little evidence being left behind. But there was something else investigators thought to check.
On fault now. He said on fault now. Hit the back of his shirt. The back of his shirt. It stands for on fault now. On fault now, gray.
That's security footage. The camera had been facing the garage where all of this carnage seemed to have happened, and so they thought maybe if they looked back far enough, it could at the very least show what had led up to this brutal attack. And so they rewound that footage, going back hours and hours, during all of which the garage had remained perfectly still, until they got all the way back to 6:42 of the day prior, February 16th.
Kylie's looking at the application right now. And when he's not, I'm banning your shit.
Hating Arts Club. Wow. Wow.
I'm banning your
Academic,
shit.
that club will be
I'm banning your
lit.
shit.
I ain't gonna.
I'm banning your shit. 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 How you say W Dante? 32-year-old woman. Ah, hell no. Trying to get into streamer university. Nigga, you don't stream. You have a 9 to 5. Shut your bitch ass up. You don't need to stream, bro. You aren't doing this for the game. You're doing it for the money. Get your ass on. Did someone walk into the garage? They did! Look, you see his feet. You see him
The film
walking
showed
into
the
the
moments
garage.
that the couple had arrived home together inside of Christina's car, which Andrew had been driving that night, as he pulled uneventfully into the garage. This was the last time this couple was seen alive on camera, which on its own is disturbing enough. But as it turns out, there was something far more
You see him right there?
unsettling about this
Oh,
footage.
you guys can't see him. Oh. Oh. Look. Look, you see his black feet. You see his
But
black
as it
feet.
turns out, there was something far more unsettling
Right
about
there.
this footage, as it revealed the fact that Christina and Andrew weren't alone.
Yeah, you see his black feet. Ooh. Yo, at that point, I'm backing up out of the garage. I'm hitting boom, gas, out of there. I'm driving away. Because he's on the
showed
side.
a tall
Yeah.
figure, its features completely shrouded in darkness, almost as if it were a shadow, with this figure lying in wait out of sight on the side of the house, until right after Andrew pulls the car into the garage, when this person slips in behind them. It's impossible to say for sure if the couple noticed this person or not, but it appears that they likely didn't, as they both start to exit the vehicle, to which the figure then ducks down in an attempt to avoid detection.
How did he not get detected by the... Oh my god, he closed the garage.
Until the garage door begins to slowly close.
Oh my god, that's scary as
Either
hell.
Christina or Andrew would make it out of that garage alive, as just seconds after this footage, they both would be brutally murdered by this unidentified
I
person.
thought Canadians were nice.
The footage is terrifying and speaks to that innate fear in most of us, the fear of being followed, of being watched, and attacked in the moments where we least expect it. It's paranoia-inducing, and made even more off-putting by the fact that this clearly seemed to be premeditated. Whoever this was knew their schedule and had been waiting for them to arrive home, in a place where they knew they wouldn't be seen. But by this point, their
That nigga's
motivation was
Batman,
as unknown
bro.
as their identity.
He's a ninja.
Following the discovery of this footage, bits and pieces were released to the press in order to get the public's help in identifying this unknown assailant. It represented a rare instance of a killer being clearly caught on camera right before committing a crime. But that's also what made this case so frustrating, as despite the video capturing this person, none of their features were discernible at all.
Hey, what dumb idiot
Unsurprising-
said, "Do you recognize this man?" Hold up. Do you recognize this man? It's a black
But
blob,
that's
bro.
also
What am I
Davis
supposed to?
came-
What discernible features am I supposed to gain off of looking at this black blob? Someone in the chat gonna be like, "Oh, I get discernible features from looking at your black blob all the time." Shut your bitch ass up.
But it at the very least showed investigators that whoever this person was knew the couple, due to its obvious premeditation. Though when looking into both Andrew and Christina, it was clear that neither of them really had any enemies in their life. With the exception of
Yo,
one.
yep, you just said something crazy in the chat that was crazy. So I'm not giving you your mind back. Thank you.
Harrison Brown was a 27-year-old employee at a company called Rogue Transportations, of which Christina
Yo,
happened
X,
to
you
be the
gonna be
vice
next.
president
Stop
of
playing, bro.
operations. And during his time there, Harrison was known to be abrasive and combative, with Christina often having to be the one to reprimand him, leading to Harrison resenting her. It isn't clear how police were tipped off about this strained working relationship, but they had somehow grown suspicious enough of Harrison to pay his home a visit, and what they found inside showed that this resentment he had towards Christina had actually morphed into a twisted obsession.
Oh my god.
Inside, police found satellite images of the rear X home, along with the software on the man's computer and cell phone that showed that on the 12th of February, he had secretly attached a tracking device to Christina's car.
Oh my god.
And he had been tracking her movements for days, which is precisely how he knew when she would be arriving home. And as if this revelation wasn't damning enough, they would also find a broken knife in his garage that contained trace amounts of Christina's blood. It was obvious what Harrison had done, and when confronted with this evidence, there was nothing more he could say other than the truth. So he admitted he had grown a hatred for Christina because of the way that she had treated him at work, and he decided that he needed to get his revenge. That's when he purchased this tracking device and began obsessing over her movements, studying them before finding the perfect time and place to strike. And on February 16th, he waited outside the rear X home.
That just shows you gotta be nice to everyone or you gonna get gangbanged like these two did, bro. And the husband ain't even do nothing. The wife was just a meanie bobini and got knocked off for it. Jesus. Sad shit.
Snuck into their garage before attacking and killing them both. After the assault, Harrison would leave the home, where he began to grow paranoid about being caught, and so he returned to the house the very next morning to start that fire, with the hopes being that the blaze would cover up his tracks. Though thankfully, this didn't work, and after pleading guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of arson, Harrison Brown would be sentenced to life in prison.
Thank God.
All 20, roll over TC. I've got an unresponsive female. I got a male.
Officer Fester's dash cam. Yo, I seen a dash cam video of a cop getting sloppy toppy. It was fire. And he tried to explain when his partner came in and found him. He tried to explain. He was like, "So she trapped me in the back of the car, and I was here, and she was attacking me." It was fire, bro. If I was the cop, I would have done the same thing.
It's the eve of Thanksgiving, 2015. Police officer Patrick Feaster sits in his cruiser parked alongside the road in the town of Paradise, California, waiting for his first action of this uncharacteristically quiet night. His car was facing the direction of a well-known local cantina, which patrons were known to drive away from under the influence. And sure enough, as the clock approached midnight, the calmness around Feaster would be shattered by the sight of a car speeding out of the restaurant's parking lot.
Ooh, don't tell me it's like fast.
The car went unseen by Feaster's dashcam, but not by Feaster himself, as he took off, doing his best to catch up with the car that was now speeding down the road. And within a few seconds, he does.
Oh, don't tell me the car got.
As the car slowly comes into frame for the first time. Inside that vehicle was 26-year-old Andrew Thomas and his ex-wife, 23-year-old Darian Aaron.
Oh, so she's still alive. Nice.
Andrew had been drinking heavily that night and
she
was
fine?
well over the legal limit, with his driving showing as much as he failed to pull over once Feaster approached him, resulting in a police chase that would only end up lasting just a few seconds.
Oh, God. No. No! He's good.
Just east of...
What is that?
Copy, roll over TC, east of Black Hall.
No, he
As
fell
Andrew
out the
would
car.
drive his car directly into a median, causing the SUV to flip over violently before coming to a halt on its side.
Oh my God, what was that being
In
blurred
that
out?
instant, Darian was ejected from the vehicle, being thrown straight through the windshield and landing onto the asphalt.
Fire. fine shit. Of course the fine shit died. Of course the fine shit died, bro. Oh my god, why can't the nigga driving? Why is it never the nigga drunk driving that dies, bro? Why is it never the nigga drunk driving that dies, bro?
Where despite still being alive,
She's
her
alive.
injuries were likely unsurvivable.
Ah!
But Andrew, on the other hand, was still inside the vehicle, and he seemed to have been left relatively unharmed. As perhaps being boosted by adrenaline, he quickly tried to crawl his way out of the car in a desperate attempt to check on Darian, with Officer Feaster's dashcam capturing the entire ordeal. Though just as Andrew attempted to do so, we see Feaster step into the frame,
Dog.
where he suddenly draws his gun, and without saying a single word, fires 2 shots at Andrew, with one of the bullets appearing to strike him, causing his body to go limp as he falls back into the car.
Like nigga, like you see a nigga obviously drunk driving, so you shoot the nigga in the face. I don't think that they teach cops de-escalation, do they? Or like they don't teach them as good as like they should. Cause like, why did this nigga activate Deadeye just to knock this nigga off, bro? You aren't Arthur Morgan. You're not him, bro. You're not John Marston. You're not Arthur Morgan. What are niggas doing, bro?
It happened in a literal instant, so fast that it's clear Feaster had most likely accidentally discharged his weapon, as there was no attempt at communication before the shot was fired,
That was an accident.
with Andrew clearly posing no risk to him, as both of his hands were being used to hoist himself up. From the footage, this all seems to be a horrible accident, and one that Feaster seemed to recognize right away, as he rushed up to the car, pointing his flashlight at the man that he had just shot, staring at him for over 10 seconds, trying to make sense of what he had just done, before he finally snaps out of it, and uses his radio to call for backup.
I thought he was about to shoot himself. Yo, I was about to say this story. I was about to say the story can't get worse than I thought he was about to shoot himself. Oh my god, I thought the story just got 10 times worse. Yo, we need.
Though this is
Jesus.
when this already dark video starts to become much more disturbing.
Stop it, bro. Did he munt? Yo, the only way this video could possibly get more disturbing is if he started munting. That is the only way. Is if this nigga started munting, bro. Oh my god. Alerts are back on.
I've got an unresponsive female. I got a male in the car refusing to get out.
When Feaster makes this call, he never mentions the shooting, and instead he states that the driver was refusing to get out of the vehicle.
Lie, bro.
This is then followed by Feaster walking away from the man and pointing his flashlight to the ground, almost as if he was looking for something.
Oh, he's about to pick up the shells.
Copy. Give your cross on Black Olive.
Pearson.
Copy. Black Olive and Pearson.
With some theorizing that he was looking for his shell casings. Though right then, another officer arrives on the scene and begins to survey the wreckage.
Just her?
No, there's a male in the car refusing to get out.
Why lie?
Where,
Like,
again,
he's
Feaster
on
says
camera.
that Andrew was refusing to get out of the car, making no mention of the fact that he had just shot him. It's clear at this point what Feaster was trying to do. He was trying to cover up his accident, but this suddenly became more difficult when Andrew started to speak.
Okay, we got one. He's refusing to get out. Get out of the car, sir. You're not shot, sir. Get out of the car.
Andrew Thomas was still alive and had muttered to Feaster that he had been shot, but even to his face, Feaster denies it. Shortly after, Andrew then tries to tell the other cop what had happened.
Sir, please come out of the car. The car is still on, and I don't want you to get hurt. Yeah, I was right there. I saw it.
Did you get shot at the cantina? Who shot you? The cop did not shoot you.
But
do you mean the cop
understandably,
did
this
not
other
shoot
cop wasn't believing him, as surely Feaster would have said something at this point. And so the minutes start to pass. And after 5 full
He's about
minutes,
to
Feaster
dive
continues
blood,
processing
yeah.
the scene like nothing had happened,
Blood
with the other
loss.
officer being left to theorize that Andrew must have been seriously injured and was likely in a state of shock, which is why he was making all of these strange claims about being shot.
He may be hurt in there. Yeah, I know he is. He's in shock at the very least.
From here, the footage cuts, and we're only left with the audio from that same officer's body cam, as he attempts to get more information from Andrew.
Sir, I need you to talk to me so I know you're okay. Sir, take a look at me. Did you bump your head?
But by this point, he had gone completely silent.
Oh my god, helicopter.
10 minutes later, the footage then cuts back on, this time to another officer's body cam, which shows that an ambulance had now finally arrived on the scene, with medics first directing their attention to Darian, who was in the worst shape, as she would tragically be pronounced dead shortly after.
Oh my God.
But despite all of these first responders on the scene, none of them had any idea that the man inside that vehicle had just been shot, and shot by one of their colleagues. And in these moments, Andrew was slowly losing his life as each minute passed. It would take 11 full minutes before Feaster finally confessed.
Sir, you hold this scene, Manny, with me. We're going over to the cantina to find out if this guy...
I wasn't even pointing at him.
Saying that he might have shot the man, but he wasn't sure. And immediately after saying this,
Oh my God, are you serious?
the recording is stopped, and the
He
footage
turned
comes to
off
an
the
end.
body cam?
Sure enough, in that moment, Officer Patrick Feaster had in fact shot Andrew Thomas, with a bullet striking him directly in the neck.
Oh
And the
my
reason why he
God.
wasn't getting out of his vehicle was because that gunshot had left him fully paralyzed from the neck down. His condition was awful, and made worse by the length of time that it took for him to receive proper treatment.
Oh my
And despite
God.
fighting for weeks, Andrew Thomas would lose his life less than 1 month later
Oh my
due to that
God.
gunshot wound.
That is
Afterwards,
wild.
Feaster admitted that he did fire his gun, but claimed that in the moment he wasn't actually sure if he had hit Andrew. But many found this hard to believe, as his gun clearly goes off while he's pointing it at Andrew, and he clearly gets a good view of him immediately after the fact. Not to mention the fact that Andrew literally told him over and over again that he was shot. But for many, by far the most incriminating moment was when Feaster appeared to be looking for his shell casings.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
And because of his actions, Officer Patrick Feaster would be found guilty of manslaughter
Thank
and receive a
God.
prison sentence of 180 days. A decision that was heavily contested but ultimately upheld. And while no one is defending Andrew Thomas's decision to drink and drive that night, Feaster's use of deadly force and his blatant attempt at covering it up make this footage harrowing nonetheless.
Do this for real, bro. I don't got no problem with giving back, man. I'm the only one out here with a show that's actually giving back, you feel me?
Young QC gives back.
It's May 2013. 23-year-old Quamaine Wilson arrives at his local bank
That's O Block.
in Chicago, Illinois, to deposit $20,000 cash, which he planned on giving out to groups of his most adoring fans.
Man, about to go get this $1,000 out for the fans, man. Really, I'm gonna take out $20,000, man. Just to show people, you feel me? I'm on a whole different level with this.
To this point, Quamaine had carved out a respectable following on his YouTube
That nigga's not Mr. Beast. Yo, you're black. Black hands, man.
channel, where he acted in a series called The Nick Story.
One more word out your mouth, and that's your last. It's your life. I'm gonna take it myself and put it in my graveyard with the rest of them.
Along with posting music he made under the name Young QC.
Oh, I've seen this guy before.
But not until she's. I know she will. I'm gonna get you.
Based on his viewership alone, his success was apparent, and he wasn't shy about showing off the wealth that he claimed to have accrued as a result of it, posting photos and videos of himself flaunting large amounts of cash across his social media pages. But this video was by far his most boastful yet, as he would take that $20,000 and throw it into the air for all of his fans to fight over. With Quamaine clearly relishing in the opportunity to show off his riches, despite the fact that behind the scenes, things weren't quite as they seemed.
What? What's up? What's
The truth was, Quamaine had actually earned very little from his channel despite its viewership,
Oh, he's
with
a
this being on
gang
account
member.
of his videos containing copywritten music, and the fact that he only had a dozen or so uploads. In fact, his social media flexing had started well before he even made his first video, as in reality, all of this money was coming straight from his mother, Yolanda Holmes. Having started a successful business in Chicago, Yolanda made a great living for herself and Quamaine, And being her only son, Quamain was given just about anything he could have asked for. She would buy him designer clothes, jewelry, and even the Mustang seen in this video.
Damn.
But for Quamain, it never seemed to be enough. He wanted to achieve a life of fame and riches, and he used his mother's finances to sell the illusion that he already had, asking her again and again to purchase him things that could help him sell this dream. Until one day, it all came crashing down, when Yolanda would tragically lose her life.
No.
Just like that, Quamain's entire support system had fallen out beneath his feet, leaving him without his mother and without the provider who was funding his entire life. But strangely, this didn't seem to stop his lavish online presence. In fact, his spending only seemed to increase after this, as this footage of him giving away money to fans actually took place after the death of his mother, which became extremely off-putting for law enforcement, as Yolanda hadn't simply passed away.
I'm gonna pin your shit, right? And we're gonna take a minute to look at you. Look at your username. Imagine what you look like. Let's relish in this moment. Imagine what you look like sitting behind your computer screen with the name Batman Sigma 1 telling me that I'm your perfect victim. Alright, Batman. Alright, Batman.
Wait, and instead, she had been brutally murdered.
What? He killed his mom. Yo, my nigga, are you serious? This shit get crazier and crazier, bro.
Quamain had learned something shortly before Yolanda's passing, that not only were his mother's savings entirely willed to him, but she had also taken out 2 life insurance policies, in which he was the sole beneficiary. And despite Yolanda giving him anything that he could have asked for, it seemed that by this point, Quamain had simply grown tired of having to ask. And so, on September 2nd, 2012, he would offer his friend Eugene Spencer $3,500 to kill his own mother.
Damn. $3,500 and your mom's life is all that shit's worth, bro. Damn, that's fucked up. Nigga said I'll kill you for free, not gonna lie. Alright, bro.
Eugene accepted.
He said shake some. Does it look like I'm in the mood to shake some, bro?
The offer, and that night he would travel to the apartment of Yolanda Holmes late at night, where he entered her room and shot her multiple times as she slept. At the time, her boyfriend had been sleeping next to her, and despite jumping up and doing his best to fight off the attacker, Eugene would eventually beat him unconscious before fleeing the scene. Eugene would call Quamain immediately after the attack to tell him that the job was done, but rather than feeling any sort of guilt, Quamain instead had no emotion, and he simply stated, "Make sure the bitch is dead."
That's fucked.
And so Eugene went back up to that unit, this time brandishing a knife, and repeatedly stabbed Yolanda until he was absolutely certain she was gone. And with that, Quamain Holmes was a rich man, and it only cost him the life of his own mother.
35K.
For a moment, the crime had worked perfectly. The police were left with no concrete leads as to who might have killed Yolanda, and the public largely believed that it was her boyfriend, whom Eugene had knocked unconscious. But no one even thought to look at Quamain. And recognizing that he was in the clear, his behavior grew brazen almost immediately.
Quamain Wilson lost his mother to gun violence on November 14th.
My mother, she was a neighborhood woman. A guy entered her home, and murdered her, just to steal.
As he went on TV to talk about his mother's murder, where he peddled the theory to the public that this was some sort of botched robbery, all the while he showed no emotion. He wouldn't even wait a full week before depositing the money, as he took out $90,000 within just the first few days, and immediately began showing it off to his followers. And in this footage where he gave away that $20,000, throwing it into the air as if it meant nothing to him, every cent of that had come from the death of his own mother, a death in which he was entirely responsible for. It would take over a full year for Quamain and Eugene to be caught, with police largely being tipped off by his online antics.
That's the second nigga first chat to come in here and say some bullshit. First nigga said that I looked like his perfect victim. This nigga said I look like a thug. Can we watch the show so that I can end stream peacefully, please? Can we please watch this video so that I can end stream peacefully? Thank you, man.
And in the end,
he said have a good stream. I didn't even see it. Thank you, Batman.
He was given a 100-year prison sentence, while Quamain received 99 years. with his legacy tipped off by his mother meant nothing to, in which he was entirely responsible for. It would take over a full year for Khomeini and Eugene to be caught, with police largely being tipped off by his online antics. And in the end, Eugene was given a 100-year prison sentence, while Khomeini received 99 years. With his legacy now permanently defined by his creation of one of YouTube's
Maybe. Because I work until 11 tomorrow.
darkest videos.
Yo, Lux. Check your dreads, check your dreads, check your dreads. I like those videos, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I like those videos. Yeah, I'm probably gonna stream tomorrow. Ending of the stream. I know what I'm gonna do at the end. I don't know what I'm gonna do at the beginning. Post stream VC, nah. Yeah, but nah, I actually like that video a lot, bro. I'm following this